In today's video, I'm breaking down the 7 fundamental positions to help you to understand the basics of BJJ. The main goal is you feel familiar with the vocabulary and confidence once you start training in a BJJ academy. Let's start with the close guard. I'm trying to give you some insights, some little things, so you can be more related when, for example, you go to your first day and the professor says, move to this position and do this kind of stuff. So you have some vocabulary at least. Well, let's go with the close guard. In this case, with someone mention that is in the close guard, we are gonna be speaking more about the athlete that is on the bottom in white. Main goal of this person will be trying to control, make to tire the opponent, making some grips on the lapel, on the pants, and trying to maintain control. There are only 2 big goals in this case. He's gonna try to sweep the opponent, trying to move in a more dominant position, such as full mount or side control, for example. Or he could try to do some submission as well. He can try to do an armbar, he could try a kimura, omoplata. These kind of submissions, they are more depth, so we can try to see in another video, but for just keep these main goals and you slowly is gonna be growing in your understanding how things works. So if we jump now into the defender position, the blue guy here, he's obviously in a dangerous position, so main goal is to break this connection on the opponent where the feet are connected. He might use 2 main resources. One could be using his knee under the tailbone and trying to make some pressure and some space until it breaks, or he can stand up. So, and the gravity is gonna, obviously you need to do some probably hooking the legs and moving around, and the best case scenario you escape. So, and one small thing we can mention, people think that when someone see this position, the guy on the top is the one that is dominating and has a vantage position. But if you see into the anatomics or the biomechanics, the guy on the bottom, he has the hips a bit higher in this occasion, so he's the one that is under control. I mean, it's gonna depend also the experience of both athletes, so it's gonna determine who is gonna be more dominant or more successful in this position. We just covered the close guard, and now we got in half guard. So you can see the main difference here is the bottom guy is not anymore on his back, so he's more on his side, and that makes a big change because he's not anymore in power. So he might try to defend himself with this knee shield under the chest or the belly of the opponent, so he is now in trouble, let's say so. The primary thing of both athletes, of the goals, is trying to win a underhook in this arm probably. So if the bottom guy, like the blue one, is pushed and get flat on the mat and lose the fight with the underhook, he is in big trouble. So he's trying, main goal, let's say bottom guy, defender, the main goal is to don't get control in 2 ways: to get flat on the bottom, and the other way is to don't lose the battle on the overhooks and underhooks. And also probably if the position gets more complicated, the top guy is gonna try to control the head. So if you control the head, you control the spine and the alignment, so he's gonna be losing the position. Now, this case, half guard is normally more advantage for the top guy or guy in white. He's gonna try the opposite goal is gonna be his main goal is to flat the opponent. He might find some sneaky submissions, such as Kimura. He might try to make a roll or whatever to transition in a more dominant position. So this one, let's say, is more about knowledge. This is half guard in this case because the power could be more in one on the other, only about his performance. So keep that in mind. This is a more transitional position. There are also people that has the main games in this guard, but as a beginner, you can see as a transitional position. We have covered close guard, half guard, and now we go to side control. In my opinion, this is one of the worst position at the beginning when you are not very knowledgeable in this case. You're gonna be spending probably a lot of time defending this one. And let's break down the main goals of both athletes. In this case, let's gonna start with the defender, the blue guy. So he's in some serious problems. So in this case, he lose. I mean, we cannot see in the image, but he lose the space control between his hip and his shoulder because the opponent has his knees, so he's losing some control. Probably this picture is not the best because he's giving up some limbs. For example, this arm can get submitted by different submissions such as Americana, Kimura. He could jump also and to do any Armbar. So the primary goal from the defender in this one is trying to make space. In this case, trying to make some frames with the elbow and the other knee here, and trying to do like people call like a V shape. So he's gonna try to make some space and trying to transfer in a more suitable position for him. If we change now to the attacker position, he's now in a good position to make improvements. As I mentioned before, he can try to submit the opponent. He can also, if he's already notchable, he can jump attacking some legs, but normally people focus more on the top control and submissions. He might also want to jump in a other dominant position. He could try to use his knee here on the back and put a knee on belly. He can try to probably more go further and do some full mount where he's gonna be very, very dominant. So just keep this slightly things, so you're gonna be able in the future when you start training and you have more knowledge, you're gonna see this in this case scenario by yourself. But remind it, this one is gonna be very painful for the beginning because high belts is gonna always end in this kind of position and you're gonna be pinned down and trying to survive. Well, we have covered so many positions, and you might think, how do I still refreshing these topics? So for this reason, I built a totally free tool that might help you in this case. You just need to use your email and download it. This tool is very visual and there is some topics about each specific position. And for those more auditive driven, I made easygoing podcast that covers all the things spoke in the video. So it's totally free, link in the description below. We have covered close guard, half guard, side control, and we move to north-south. This one could be sound a bit tricky, but it's very simple. It's not north-south only because the line of both athletes is gonna be like a straight line. One head is pointing to the north, and the other, hypothetically speaking, is to the south. So in this case, the defender is the guy on the bottom, on blue, and he might be in some troubles. This one, for example, north-south, is a good transition position from the side control that we saw previously. But on the bottom side, the guy needs to try to make some space. So in this case, he can be using his elbows. He can be trying to use also some he might also invert himself. He might also be looking to invert all the position using his feet against his opponent and trying to reverse himself. He's gonna be ending in an open guard or a closed guard. So, but he has some troubles. Normally people try to attack the neck. So people on the bottom, even if you are using your elbows and hands to be framing and trying to control a bit and to don't get submitted, but normally the top opponent is going to be trying to look to submit you in some choke or more attacking the limbs like the arms. So now speaking about the top guy, he's in a very advantage position. See, he might try to move in another more dominant. For example, he might try to do a knee on belly. He might also try to make the bottom player tired, because if someone puts you pressure on the chest and he knows how to do it, it's very disgusting. I mean, you're gonna be feeling like really bad if you are defending this one. And mentioned before, he's gonna be trying to make some north-south choke with the lapels. He might try to take the arm and do some kimura, paper choke. Sorry. So these are the main goals of both athletes. We saw close guard, half guard, side control, north-south position, and we jump now on knee on belly. This one is very weird. I mean, when you feel the first time very well done, you have all the weight of the opponent in your waist or your belly. This one is quite tricky, and maybe you have seen him any striking competition like MMA, UFC, one championship, or in some street fights, because it's very dominant. The top guy has also his hands to hit the opponent, but we keep this one for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So the main thing is to the top, the attacker, with the knee here has the ability to make tired the opponent. When you have some pressure on the belly and you are already exhausted, trust me, the air is gonna be missing, and he might try to move. For example, if he moves the legs, he's gonna end in a full mount, or he can try some submissions. For example, he has already this arm here. He can try to jump in an armbar. He can try to attack the lapels for some chokes. Or, as I mentioned, he can be dominant. He try to find some gap in the opponent's defense and trying to make some advantage. In this case, now, main goal of the defender. You might try to move all the weight of the opponent from your belly. So you might use a bridge to move all the to the hands on the front, so you don't have that pressure on your body. So once you have this accomplished, you can try to attack his leg, like the ankle, probably try to elevate and to remove from your hip or from the butt or from the floor, and doing some space. Normally when you are facing or defending something, you try always to normally you are framing and trying to make a space to try to recover your guard or trying to earn some advantageous position for you. We have been covering close guard, half guard, side control, north-south, knee on belly, and now we jump to the full mount. This one is probably also very familiar with some people that look some MMA, because it's normally very advantage for the person on the top. So in this case, if we are speaking about the attacker goal, it's gonna be trying to, probably at least at the beginning, is make you heavy. So if you make you heavy here, all the way is gonna be pushing down to the bottom athlete, so he's gonna be exhausting. So it's gonna need more air, and it's gonna be at some point making a mistake, and you're gonna try to make some advantage. There are also many ways to confront this one. You can try to be moving your full mount a bit further, so you can trap both arms of your opponent, so he has less control, and he can off balance you with some bridge or upa, so you have more control, because you're gonna try to make your legs around his shoulders. In this case, this is a very dominant position. The top guy might be looking for some lapel or neck attacks. He might look for some armbars. He might try, in some cases, when someone is more experienced, he can try to attack the legs, but it's not the main goal. So you are dominating the position in this case. Also, you need to be covering your back, because you can get swept if you don't balance your weight. On the other hand, the bottom guy is trying to survive. I mean, when you have someone on your chest, and if he's someone that is way bigger than you, only the breathing is gonna be an effort for you. He might think, he might try to escape, and there is few options in this case. The first one is at least not to be flat on your back, so it's gonna give you less mobility. Normally people will be in a more 90 degrees, let's say so, position, framing the elbows and his hips, so you have some control using the elbow. And there are, let's say, two primarily ways to defend this one. Is shrimping, using your elbows and your hips to gain some space in one of the legs and making some shrimping, yeah. So he's gonna try to move in a half guard, probably is gonna be the first step, and if you are successful, you're gonna be going to your close guard. And the other options could be a bridge when you disable the hands, because he's gonna be posting on the floor, and from that it's gonna be more tricky because you need to still escaping from the hip connection from your opponent. And the last one is probably sweeping. You try to gain some control in the lapels or on the arms, and you're gonna roll over one or to the other side, and you're gonna be ending inside the close guard of your opponent. But anyways, this position is very dangerous if you are playing on the bottom, so be mindful. Last position, we covered already close guard, half guard, side control, north-south, knee on belly, full mount, and now the last one is back control. This one is probably the most dominant among the practitioners, but you need to know also what you do. So in this case, if we speak about the attacker, it's gonna be the one that is on the back, on blue. He might try to dominate the guy, flatting, for example, if they reverse and they end flat on the floor, or if they end on the back of the attacker, so if they lay down. For example, now the defender has more, at least a bit of advantage, because with the feet he can try to move and defend a bit, in which side he decides to roll. Anyways, main goals of the attacker on blue is, as you see, he's gonna try to lock his hand and do a rear naked choke. It's the most common one. He might jump in a arrow bow choke as well. He might try to use the lapels to do any strangle as well. So this is a very, very, very dominant position for the attacker. So let's move to the defender goal. Here is very tricky. You need to be trying, for example, now is a very good position for the defender, because with the feet he can try to be moving side to side and try to roll. So main goal is to avoid any choke, so controlling his the opponent's arms, and he needs to start looking to close this connection and try to bring his own hips onto the mat. These are the main ways to escape a back control. But you need to have some knowledge to try to be very successful. Otherwise, you're gonna be trapped yourself in a more dangerous position.